Okay, cello students, we're ready for lesson 20. So in this lesson, I'm going to kind of give y'all a quick recap of things that you should be working on and a few more new things as well. So far you've worked on tone studies 1 through 3. So tone study number 1 is the long bow strokes on open strings. So you should be working on that. And then tone study number 2 is the bow lifts on open strings. I'm just going to bring my camera down here a little bit lower so y'all can see the bow while we're talking about tone. Okay, so tone study number 1 is your long bow strokes on open strings. During that tone study, you should be working on your bow hold, keeping everything relaxed, your thumb curved, and your wrist nice and relaxed as well. So that's what you want to focus on in your first tone study, as well as keeping a really even tone across the strings. Now for tone study number 2, you're working on bow coordination. So the ability to press down into the string at a certain point and then produce a good tone, do a lift, and then up bows as well. And I described all of those in the previous lessons. Then for tone study number 3, that's when you're doing the long bows on scales. So rather than just doing open strings, you're actually doing it on a scale. All the way through the scale. So that was just the first half of the D scale. So you want to make sure you're practicing all of your scales. So far you know the D, the G, and the C major scales. So work on those 3 scales. And now for tone study number 4, this is a new one. So tone study number 4 is to do the bow lifts, just like you did on tone study 2. You're going to do the bow lifts this time on every note of the scale. So for example, let's say we're going to play the G major scale. So G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. That's your G major scale. So to do the bow lifts, we're first just going to do it. We're going to do it in the phases like we did before. So you can just do it in the middle part of your bow, nice and easy. So you'll notice I'm doing a down, up, lift. Okay, so you can practice it all down, like this. So that would be your first stage, and you can also do it all up bow. Or you can go down, up, down, up in that way. And that's good practice to do it all 3 different ways. So work on that, and after you master doing it in the middle of the bow, then you can do it a little bit different, and you can do the divisions of your bow. Let's say doing the first half on G, and then another down bow for A. Like that. So you're doing one note, another note, and then up bow in the same way. So if that makes sense. If you guys have any questions on that, let me know in the comments and I'll help you a little bit more on those. I'll also be reviewing tone study number 4 as we go in some later lessons. Okay, so on page 27 is where we are. So we covered pages 26 and a little bit of 27 when we talked about the G major scale, and you learned the notes on the G string. So now you're ready for page 27, exercise 99. We may have done this a little bit. It's a 4th finger D exercise for the violins and violas. For the cellos and the double basses, it doesn't apply to that. But I just want to quickly do a quick review here of that one. rest there at the end. Keep in mind the half rests sit on the third line of the staff, and they look like a little tiny black box. So that's what the half rests are. Okay, so you'll notice in the theory box for this page, it talks about time signature, also referred to as meter. It is common time, so you'll see a big C. Now, a lot of students think that the C means that we're in the key of C, meaning we have no sharps and no flats. But that's not true. It stands for common time. Common time is 4/4 time. So you have 4 beats per measure. The quarter note is what gets that beat. All right, so we're going to practice exercise 100. We're in the key of G. So we have 1 sharp, that's the F sharp. So any Fs will be sharped. I don't believe there are any in this piece, so we don't even have to worry about it. All right, so we're going to start on G and go back and forth from G to B. Make sure to use your fingers as one unit here. Keep the B down while you do D. Down on the B, that note there, make sure that they're really square position like that, so that they're not touching that D string behind it, because you want to be able to get a nice good tone there. Back and forth there. It actually goes from D to B. That way. Okay, so make sure that you practice that very carefully. All right, on to our little fun tunes here. We're going to do Baa Baa Black Sheep and This Old Man, okay? So these are both going to be in the key of G. So Fs are sharps, everything else is natural. Here we go. Notice those eighth notes and the patterns that they're in. Long, short, short, long, short, short. Okay, so watch for that. Happens twice there between lines 1 and 2 of that song. So practice it very slowly. Your practice tempo for that piece is going to be more like this. Make sure you're going slow enough. All right, next one. This is one that's fun to do fast, but y'all take it slowly. I'm going to show y'all both a practice tempo and a performance tempo on this. So here's a practice tempo. Work on it slowly and then move it up to speed little by little. Okay, here we go. Now, the most tricky part is going to be the first 2 measures of your second line. So you're going to want to go step by step on there. You're going to want to start it slow. Fingers close to the fingerboard so that they don't take too much time to get down for those notes. All right, so y'all have fun with that. Practice slowly, practice carefully, work on tone study number 4, and remember every time you practice to make sure you start out with warming up. Okay, so don't just try to go straight into your songs. Many of you are still working on pages 24 and 25. the little bit harder songs there, the performance songs. So work slowly and carefully while you're practicing. Don't rush. I know it's fun to play fast, but don't play too fast or it will actually slow you down in the long run. So y'all have fun. Practice, practice.